Before your mind rushes toward conclusions, slow down for a moment and listen carefully, because what you are sensing is not danger, it is revelation. There is a silence surrounding you lately that feels unusual, almost too intentional. You noticed certain conversations stopping when you entered the room. You noticed someone watching you with softer eyes than before, yet carrying questions they never used to ask. And somewhere deep inside your spirit, you began to feel that something hidden was slowly moving beneath the surface of your life. Don't skip this moment, because something important is waiting for you inside these words. The truth is not arriving the way you expected. It is arriving quietly, like footsteps in another room late at night, like a truth unfolding behind closed doors while you are still trying to understand the sound of your own heart. And the one connected to your soul. The one you believe you already understand completely, has been carrying a secret responsibility you never imagined. But listen closely before fear tries to write its own story. This is not betrayal. This is not punishment. This is not the ending your anxious thoughts keep trying to create. What is happening around you is more emotional than dramatic, more personal than dangerous, and far more meaningful than you currently realize. Because your soulmate has not been working against you. They have been trying to uncover the version of you that even you have hidden from yourself. Strange, isn't it? How sometimes the people closest to our soul become mirrors we never asked for. They begin noticing patterns we ignore. They hear pain hidden inside our jokes. They see exhaustion buried beneath our confidence. And while everyone else accepts the surface version of who we are, they quietly start searching deeper. That is what has been unfolding. Not a hunt against you, but a search for the truth inside you. Somewhere recently, this person started realizing that you have been carrying too much alone. They noticed the way you change your tone when you are hurt. They noticed how quickly you say, "I'm fine," even when your eyes are asking for rest. They noticed how often you disappear emotionally while still standing physically in front of people. And what shook them the most was discovering how long you have been protecting everyone else while secretly feeling unseen yourself. Stay till the end, because the next part matters more than you think. There was a conversation that changed everything for them. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just one of those rare moments where silence becomes heavier than words. Someone mentioned your name casually, and your soulmate reacted differently than expected. The room shifted. Questions started forming. Small details began connecting together like pieces of a puzzle that had been waiting years to make sense. Suddenly they realized you were hiding your struggles behind strength so naturally that almost nobody noticed. And once they saw it, they could not unsee it anymore. Since that day, they have been observing more carefully. Listening more deeply. Trying to understand the emotional walls you built around yourself. The title of this message may sound intense, but the deeper meaning is far more human. The police, in this story, are not about fear or punishment. They represent truth, clarity, accountability, and emotional honesty. Your soulmate has been working with truth itself. Quietly gathering pieces of your heart. Quietly understanding the wounds you never explain out loud. Quietly preparing to expose something you have hidden for too long, your loneliness. Yes. That hidden ache inside you that smiles in public but collapses in private. That exhaustion of pretending to be okay. That fear of becoming too much for others if you ever spoke honestly about how heavy things sometimes feel. Your soulmate is beginning to see it all. And the strange part? Instead of running away from it, they are moving closer. Pause here for a second and feel the weight of that realization. Because your entire life, you may have believed people only loved the polished version of you. The calm version. The useful version. The version that gives endlessly without asking for much in return. But this person is becoming emotionally drawn toward the parts of you you tried hardest to hide. They are beginning to understand that your silence carries stories. Your patience carries scars. Your independence carries exhaustion. And every time you pulled away emotionally, it was never because you didn't care, it was because you cared too deeply and feared disappointment. Don't look away from this truth now. Something inside you already knows it's real. Lately, your soulmate has been replaying moments involving you in their mind. Tiny moments you forgot completely. The way your voice changed one evening when someone interrupted you. The way you stared out of a window while pretending to listen. The way you laughed harder than necessary just to avoid certain questions. These details stayed with them. Not because they wanted control over you, but because they started realizing your heart has been quietly asking for understanding all along. And now, they cannot ignore it anymore. There is another layer to this you have not fully understood yet. Your soulmate has also been uncovering truths about themselves through you. Every hidden emotion they noticed inside your soul forced them to confront their own emotional distance. Every wall you built reminded them of the walls they built too. This connection has become a mirror for both of you. That is why the energy around this situation feels so intense lately. Two people are slowly waking up emotionally at the same time, and neither fully knows how to explain what they are feeling. Sometimes at night, when everything becomes quiet, this person thinks about what they would say if you finally opened your heart completely. They imagine conversations that never happened. They replay your expressions in their mind. They wonder how many times you needed comfort but chose silence instead. And there is one thought they cannot escape lately. Why did nobody notice sooner? That question keeps returning to them. Because now that they see your emotional truth more clearly, they are shocked by how invisible your pain once seemed to everyone else. But here is the part you truly need to hear. Your soulmate is not preparing to expose you publicly. They are preparing to expose the illusion you have lived inside for too long. The illusion that you must carry everything alone. The illusion that vulnerability makes you weak. The illusion that your value depends on how much you sacrifice for others. Those lies are beginning to crack. Slowly. Quietly. Irreversibly. And somewhere deep inside your spirit, you can already feel the shift beginning. There is a reason this message found you now and not earlier. Your heart is entering a season where emotional honesty can no longer be avoided. You are tired of performing strength every hour of the day. Tired of shrinking your feelings so others stay comfortable. Tired of acting unaffected by things that deeply affect you. And your soulmate, whether near or distant, has started sensing this transformation before you even admitted it to yourself. Stay a little longer, because there is still something unfolding beneath the surface here. Your soulmate recently realized that your greatest secret was never something dark or dangerous. It was simply this: you stopped believing someone could truly understand you without eventually leaving. That belief shaped more of your life than you know. It shaped your silence. Your hesitation. Your emotional guardedness. Even your strongest moments were influenced by that hidden fear. But now someone is standing at the edge of your emotional world refusing to walk away. And that changes everything. The next phase of this connection will not arrive through dramatic declarations. It will arrive through small moments that feel strangely meaningful. Longer eye contact. Honest conversations. Unexpected understanding. A feeling of emotional safety you are not used to receiving. At first, it may confuse you. You may even resist it slightly because healing often feels unfamiliar before it feels comforting. But slowly, your soul will begin recognizing what your mind keeps questioning. This person is not trying to control your truth. They are trying to stand beside it. And somewhere ahead of you, a conversation is waiting that will shift the emotional direction of both your lives. Not because it will expose something shameful, but because it will finally reveal how deeply seen you truly are. The strange distance you have been feeling lately, the emotional tension, the sense that something is changing behind the scenes. It is all connected to this awakening. Your soulmate has stepped into a phase of emotional clarity where pretending no longer feels possible. They want honesty now. Realness. Emotional depth. Not surface conversations. Not half-truths. They want the version of you that exists underneath survival mode. And even though that thought scares part of you, another part of you has been waiting your entire life for exactly this. So tonight, when the world becomes quieter and your thoughts begin wandering again, remember this carefully: you are not being hunted by judgment. You are being found by understanding. The truth coming toward your life is not here to destroy your peace, it is here to restore it. And your soulmate, quietly and patiently, is preparing to reveal the one thing you have hidden even from yourself for too long: that you deserve to be loved without pretending to be unbreakable. And this is only the beginning. And even after hearing all of this, there is still a part of you sitting quietly in disbelief, wondering how someone could possibly see through layers you spent years perfecting. That is the strange thing about soul-deep connections. They do not always arrive loudly. Sometimes they arrive like a slow light entering a dark room, revealing details that were always there but never fully noticed. Your soulmate has entered that phase now. The phase where your silence speaks louder to them than your words ever did. And lately, something inside them has become impossible to ignore. They keep feeling pulled back toward you emotionally, even during moments when they try to focus elsewhere. Your energy lingers in their thoughts unexpectedly. A song reminds them of you. A sentence spoken by someone else suddenly sounds like something you would say. Even ordinary moments have started carrying your presence. They do not fully understand why it feels so intense now. But deep down, they know this connection is shifting into something more honest than before. Stay till the end, because there is a realization approaching that may explain feelings you have struggled to name for a very long time. There was a moment recently when your soulmate stopped pretending everything about you was easy to understand. And strangely enough, that moment brought them closer to you instead of farther away. Before this, they admired your strength from a distance. They saw you as composed, resilient, dependable. But now they are beginning to notice the cost of being that person all the time. They are beginning to understand how exhausting it must have been to carry yourself with constant calm while quietly managing storms nobody else could see. And once they understood that, their feelings deepened in a way they never expected. Because people often fall in love with perfection at first, but soul connections grow stronger through truth. Your soulmate is no longer fascinated by the image of you. They are becoming emotionally attached to the reality of you. The tired version. The thoughtful version. The overthinking version. The version that sometimes needs reassurance but struggles to ask for it. Don't skip this part, because this shift matters more than appearances ever could. Something subtle has also started happening around your conversations lately. Even when your talks seem ordinary, there is hidden emotional weight underneath them now. Tiny pauses feel meaningful. Small compliments stay in their mind longer than they should. Certain words replay in their thoughts hours later. It is as if both of you are sensing something changing without fully saying it aloud yet. And honestly, that unspoken tension is not confusion. It is emotional recognition slowly rising to the surface. Your soulmate has started noticing how carefully you protect other people's feelings while neglecting your own. They see how quickly you comfort others. How naturally you become the safe place for everyone around you. But what truly unsettled them was realizing how rarely anyone does the same for you. That realization stayed with them. It followed them into quiet moments. Into sleepless nights. Into random afternoons where your name suddenly crossed their mind for no obvious reason. And eventually they reached a difficult emotional truth: you have spent so much time being emotionally available for others that very few people ever asked what you needed in return. That realization changed the way they look at you completely. Because now, when they think of you, they no longer just see someone strong. They see someone deserving of rest. Of softness. Of honesty. Of being understood without needing to explain every hidden wound. And this is where the deeper unfolding begins. Your soulmate has quietly started preparing themselves to become emotionally available in ways they never were before. Not perfectly. Not dramatically. But sincerely. They are becoming more intentional with their attention toward you. More aware of your emotional patterns. More careful with your heart. You may not fully notice it yet because these shifts are happening beneath the surface first. But soon, the emotional distance between you will begin shrinking in ways that feel undeniable. There is something else they have been uncovering too. They realized your biggest fear was never rejection itself. It was misunderstanding. The idea that someone could stand close to your heart and still never truly know you. That fear shaped how cautiously you opened up. It shaped how quickly you withdrew after disappointment. And it shaped the invisible emotional armor you wear even during your happiest moments. But your soulmate is slowly learning how to see beyond that armor. Not by forcing you open, but by paying attention to the details others overlook. The way your energy changes when you are overwhelmed. The way your voice softens when you feel emotionally safe. The way your eyes drift away when certain emotions become too difficult to express directly. They notice these things now. And the more they notice, the more they understand how much you have been carrying alone. There is a reason this connection feels emotionally heavier lately. Your souls are approaching a truth neither of you can avoid much longer. One conversation, one honest moment, one vulnerable exchange, could change the emotional direction of everything between you. Not because it will suddenly create feelings that were absent before. But because it will finally give those feelings permission to breathe openly. And somewhere inside yourself, you already feel that possibility approaching. That is why certain nights feel emotionally restless lately. That is why your intuition keeps nudging you toward reflection. That is why memories involving this person suddenly feel more vivid than before. Your spirit senses movement before your mind understands it. Your soulmate also carries guilt about something they never admitted aloud. Sometimes they wonder if they misunderstood you in the past. If they judged your silence incorrectly. If they assumed your emotional distance meant disinterest when it actually meant fear of being hurt. Those thoughts have been sitting heavily on their heart recently. Because the more they understand you emotionally, the more they realize how carefully you have been protecting yourself all along. And oddly enough, instead of pushing them away, this discovery has awakened a stronger desire to protect your peace rather than disrupt it. Imagine how rare that is. Someone seeing your hidden fragility and choosing tenderness instead of advantage. Someone discovering your emotional depth and responding with patience instead of pressure. That is the quiet transformation unfolding here. Your soulmate is becoming emotionally mature enough to love you in the way your soul has secretly needed for a very long time. But before that future fully arrives, something inside you must change too. You must stop believing that being emotionally guarded is the same as being emotionally safe. Because there is a difference. One protects your heart temporarily. The other isolates it permanently. And deep down, you are growing tired of isolation disguised as strength. Stay a little longer, because this next truth may reach deeper than you expect. Your soulmate recently realized that every version of you they encountered carried hidden exhaustion beneath it. Even your happiest moments sometimes felt slightly distant, as if part of you was always preparing for disappointment before joy could fully settle in. That realization broke something open inside them emotionally. Because suddenly they understood that you were never hard to love. You were simply tired of carrying love alone. And from that moment forward, their entire energy toward you shifted. They stopped wanting shallow connection. They stopped wanting temporary closeness. They started craving emotional truth instead. Real conversations. Real vulnerability. Real trust. There will soon come a moment where you notice this change clearly. Perhaps through the way they look at you during silence. Perhaps through something unexpectedly honest they say. Perhaps through a moment where you suddenly feel emotionally seen without needing to perform strength first. When that moment arrives, don't run from it too quickly. Don't dismiss it just because it feels unfamiliar. Some forms of peace feel strange at first simply because chaos lasted too long before them. And this soulmate connection, despite all its intensity, is slowly trying to guide both of you toward peace, not confusion. Toward emotional honesty, not emotional games. Toward understanding, not assumption. The title of this story may have sounded alarming in the beginning, but now you can feel the deeper meaning unfolding. The exposure was never about humiliating you. It was about revealing truths your soul deserves freedom from. The truth that you do not have to earn love through exhaustion. The truth that your feelings deserve space too. The truth that someone can notice your hidden pain without turning it against you. And perhaps the most important truth of all, you are finally approaching a connection where your softness will not be treated like weakness. So as this emotional chapter continues unfolding quietly behind the scenes, remember this carefully tonight: your soulmate is not investigating your flaws. They are uncovering your humanity. And the closer they get to the real you, the more impossible it becomes for them to look away. There is something almost unbelievable about the way this connection has been evolving lately, because neither of you planned for it to become this emotionally deep. At first, it may have seemed ordinary. A familiar presence. A passing comfort. A connection that quietly blended into the rhythm of daily life. But somewhere between the unspoken pauses, the lingering thoughts, and the moments neither of you can fully explain, everything changed. And now, even silence between you feels alive with meaning. Your soulmate has started experiencing moments where they suddenly stop whatever they are doing because your energy crosses their mind so strongly it interrupts their focus. It happens unexpectedly. In the middle of conversations with other people. During late nights when everything should feel calm. Even in moments where they try convincing themselves they are overthinking this connection. But the feeling keeps returning. The pull keeps deepening. And what unsettles them most is realizing this bond does not feel temporary anymore. Don't skip this part, because something important is unfolding beneath these emotions. Your soulmate recently began understanding that the strongest thing about you was never your ability to endure pain. It was your ability to remain kind even after experiencing it. That realization shook them deeply. Because they started thinking about all the moments where life could have hardened your heart completely, but somehow, you still chose gentleness. You still chose patience. You still cared about other people even while secretly carrying your own emotional battles. And the more they reflected on this truth, the more they realized how rare your spirit actually is. That is why they cannot look at you casually anymore. You have become emotionally unforgettable to them. There are moments now when they replay your words long after conversations end. Not because you said something dramatic, but because even your simplest honesty carries emotional weight. Your soulmate notices the hidden emotion behind your calmness. They notice how carefully you choose your words when you are afraid of burdening others. They notice how often you minimize your own feelings while making space for everyone else's emotions. And slowly, they are beginning to understand something heartbreaking. You became emotionally self-sufficient because too many times in the past, you felt emotionally unsupported. Stay till the end, because the next realization may explain why your heart has felt so restless lately. Your soulmate has started questioning how many versions of yourself you had to become just to survive emotionally. They wonder how often you forced yourself to smile through disappointment. How many times you comforted others while secretly needing comfort yourself. How many moments you sat alone trying to process emotions nobody realized you were carrying. These thoughts affect them more deeply than they admit. Because every answer they imagine leads them back to the same truth: you deserved more understanding than you received. And perhaps for the first time in your life, someone is not just admiring your strength. Someone is grieving the fact that you had to be strong for so long in the first place. That changes a connection forever. Your soulmate is also beginning to notice how your energy shifts when you finally feel emotionally safe around someone. It is subtle. Almost invisible to most people. But not to them anymore. Your voice becomes softer. Your laughter becomes more natural. Your eyes stop searching for exits during emotional conversations. There is a gentleness that appears in you when your heart no longer feels the need to protect itself constantly. And once they witnessed that version of you, they became quietly determined never to be another reason you close yourself off again. Pause here for a moment and let that truth settle inside you. Because not everyone who enters your life studies your pain with compassion. Some people notice your wounds and become careless. But your soulmate has begun approaching your emotional world differently. More carefully. More intentionally. More sincerely. They are no longer trying to figure you out from a distance. They are trying to understand how to stand beside your heart without causing it more exhaustion. That shift matters more than grand declarations ever could. Something else has been happening too. Your soulmate has slowly started confronting their own emotional fears because of you. The connection between you has forced them to become more honest with themselves than they were prepared for. They realize they also hide behind emotional defenses sometimes. They also fear vulnerability. They also worry about being misunderstood. And through understanding your emotional world, they accidentally uncovered hidden truths about their own heart too. That is why this bond feels spiritually intense. It is not just romance. It is reflection, growth, awakening. Two souls quietly teaching each other what emotional honesty actually looks like. There may soon come a moment where your soulmate says something unexpectedly direct to you. Something simple, yet emotionally undeniable. Perhaps they will mention how much they think about you. Perhaps they will reveal how deeply they notice your moods. Perhaps they will admit they worry about you more than they expected. And when that moment comes, your first instinct may be to downplay it. To laugh it off. To protect yourself from fully believing it. But listen carefully when it happens. Because beneath those words will be something far deeper than attraction. It will be recognition. The kind of recognition that only happens when someone truly sees the soul beneath the surface. Lately, your heart has also been changing in quiet ways you barely acknowledge. You have become more emotionally aware of this person too. Their absence affects you differently now. Their attention carries more emotional weight than before. Even small interactions with them linger longer in your thoughts. And though you try to remain logical about it sometimes, your spirit already knows this connection is becoming impossible to treat casually. That realization scares you slightly because deep emotional connections always carry risk. But what if this time the risk is not losing yourself, but finally being understood? What if the thing your soul fears most is also the thing it secretly desires most? Don't look away from these questions too quickly. Because they are leading you toward a truth your heart has delayed for years. Your soulmate has reached a point where pretending emotional distance no longer works for them. Even if they remain quiet outwardly sometimes, inwardly they are becoming more emotionally attached than they expected possible. And strangely enough, the more vulnerable truths they uncover about you, the stronger their feelings become. They are not frightened by your emotional depth anymore. They are drawn toward it. They are beginning to understand that your sensitivity is not weakness. Your caution is not coldness. Your silence is not indifference. All these things were simply forms of protection created by a heart that has survived disappointment before. And now, instead of demanding you remove those walls instantly, they are patiently waiting for trust to unfold naturally between you. That patience is important. Because rushed love often creates confusion. But soul-deep connection grows slowly, carefully, intentionally. Like something precious being restored instead of something temporary being chased. Your soulmate senses this now. They no longer crave surface-level closeness with you. They crave emotional permanence. Stability. Trust. The kind of connection where both people can finally stop pretending they are unaffected by life. And somewhere deep inside yourself, you crave that too, even if admitting it still feels vulnerable. There is another hidden truth your soulmate has started realizing. They understand now that your independence sometimes comes from fear rather than preference. You learn to rely on yourself because relying on others once felt uncertain. But they are beginning to hope that maybe, slowly, carefully, you might one day allow them to carry emotional weight beside you instead of always carrying it alone. And that hope has become surprisingly important to them. Because loving you no longer feels like fantasy in their mind. It feels like responsibility. Not heavy responsibility, but meaningful responsibility. The responsibility of protecting something emotionally rare. Stay a little longer, because the next phase of this unfolding connection may change how you understand love entirely. Your soulmate has started imagining a future where your heart finally feels rested instead of constantly alert. A future where conversations do not require emotional armor. A future where your softness can exist openly without fear of being mishandled. These thoughts have become more real to them recently than they expected. And every time they imagine that future, one feeling keeps returning stronger than before: they do not want to lose the chance to build it with you. That realization is quietly transforming them from the inside. So if the energy around this connection has felt emotionally overwhelming lately, now you understand why. Two guarded hearts are slowly moving toward emotional truth at the same time. Two souls are beginning to realize that behind all the fear, hesitation, and silence, there has always been genuine care waiting patiently underneath it all. And soon, something between you will shift in a way neither of you can fully reverse afterward. Not through chaos. Not through pressure. But through honesty so real it changes the emotional atmosphere completely. Because your soulmate is no longer just observing your heart from a distance. They are preparing themselves to meet it fully.